Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 10 out of Jake, man. I'm rocking with Charlie. Y'all rocking with me. And for this video, I'm going to be speaking on a Florida rapper that recently died in a very unfortunate way. Now, out of all the rappers I've covered in 2020, this is definitely a standout case, and of course, it's coming out of Florida. On Saturday, December 12th, police responded to a home in Lehigh Acres to find a man dead, dangling from a window 5 feet off the ground. Jonathan Hernandez, a 32-year-old rapper who went by the name Taz and UFO, was attempting to burglarize a house. He'd managed to open the window, lift himself up, and make his way in when the window came down on his neck, pinning him in the air. He was found by the property owner, who then contacted law enforcement. The dead man's fiance showed up on the scene immediately in disbelief, saying what was being reported isn't what happened, insinuating there's more to his death than a freak accident. She went on to say he may have looked the part with all the face tattoos, but he was a kind-hearted person, a father of 5. He's not a bad guy, and she needs a proper investigation to bring the truth to light. Now, law enforcement was quick to put out that Jonathan was in fact a convicted felon and was even tied to a murder case. March 20th, 2014, deputies responded to a shooting scene, learning a male victim with a gunshot wound to the face was transported to a hospital where he later died. He'd been shot during an attempted robbery, a drug deal gone bad in which they robbed him for marijuana and his own handgun. A man named Nelson Lopez organized to meet with the victim and purchase a half pound. He was driven to the area by Jonathan Hernandez with 2 other men in the car. During the drug deal, Nelson and his co-defendant stole the marijuana and gun off the dining room table and tried to make a run for it. There was a brief struggle. The victim chased after the 2 men and was shot in the face. The primary witness in the case identified Nelson as the one who fired the fatal shot. Jonathan Hernandez, the driver, also identified Nelson and his co-defendant, Quayshawn Madison, as the 2 people he drove to the residence who entered the home before the victim was murdered. Hernandez also confirmed to police Nelson and his associate had come to buy marijuana. The second robber, Quayshawn, provided a statement to police that matched the main witness's description of what happened. Because of Jonathan's participation in driving the other 2, he was charged with 3rd-degree felony murder and conspiracy to possess over 20 grams of marijuana. Nelson was sentenced to over 20 years. Quayshawn was sentenced to 2, but later was booked for another shooting and drug charges, leaving him with a release date of 2037. And Jonathan Hernandez got off. Now, Jonathan had plenty of arrests after the fact, but almost all were petty. Larceny charges from shoplifting, failing to appear in court, marijuana, loitering, giving a false ID to a cop, and withholding child support. He wasn't a violent felon. He definitely didn't have his shit together and found himself being arrested for the stupidest shit. But he also doesn't sound like a hardened criminal, more like a guy struggling mentally. I personally don't think his involvement in the murder case was anything more than just driving someone to buy weed, but it's definitely being used against him after his death to portray he was nothing more than a criminal killed by karma. Now, all in all, this is a shitty situation because you have an entire family that's going without their father. And you'll see in a lot of these cases where the burglar, the robber, is killed during what happened. It's usually by the homeowner. And that's pretty much what his fiance is insinuating. Like, I don't know if she's thinking the guy held the window down on his neck until he died. But even if he did, I think he could beat that case. I mean, this is fucking Florida. This is stand your ground. Someone's trying to force their way in. You can force them the fuck out by taking their life. You know what I'm saying? Whether he blew his face off with a gun or whether he just, slam dunks his ass into the window. It is what it is. You really can't be that sympathetic for somebody that was trying to break into someone else's home, which makes burglary so fucking dangerous. And it's crazy because most jits in Florida start doing burglaries when they're like 13, 14, 15, not understanding the risk that if you go in there in someone's home, they have the right to kill you. And I mean, I don't expect her to say anything other than he was a good guy because she knew the good side of him. The police are not going to come forward and say, oh, he used to take his kids to get ice cream every Saturday. They don't know that information, and they honestly don't give a fuck about that information. Obviously, she does, but he's been arrested a shitload of times. And as petty as the arrests are, there's something wrong if he keeps offending over and over and over again. You know, multiple arrests within 1 year, and it's just over basic bum shit. It doesn't really make any sense. Now, his rap career is questionable. He was titled as a rapper in the news. He only had 3 videos on YouTube, and he had a very weird style. He's 32 years old, but he more so resembled Lil Pump or some shit. There's a bunch of random face tattoos, dreads, and his style was like always speaking on LSD, like tripping and being high was the style of his own theme. I don't know how to really break it down. He just seemed kind of fucking weird to me. You know what I mean? He didn't seem like a gangster criminal rapper. He seemed like someone that enjoyed getting high and more or less fit the image of a SoundCloud rapper, which he probably thought was popping and might help out his career. Now, do I think he was killed by the window? I don't think anyone murdered him and held the window down and pinned him into the fucking... I don't think any of that is true. I think he fucked up. And whether it was God, you know, a gust of wind blew the window down, it was a freak accident that resulted in his death. And these types of things happen. It's not uncommon. They do happen. And one thing about it I want to point out is if he had a co-defendant that was with him and he died during this incident, I believe that co-defendant could have been charged with the felony murder because it was an accidental death during the commission of an actual crime, which is very similar to when, let's say, 2 robbers rob a bank, one of the security guards kills one of the robbers, the other one runs away, he gets arrested, but he's charged with his co-defendant's murder. This is something I want y'all to pay attention to, because if you do a crime with somebody and they end up fucking dead, you get charged for that crime. But hey, it's 1090 J. I'm rocking with y'all. Y'all rocking with me. Till next time.